At some point, you notice something strange. You react before you choose. You feel things before you fully understand them. You repeat patterns even after promising yourself you would not. And then the question comes quietly, why am like this? Why do I keep reacting this way? Why do small things affect me so much? Maybe answer is not that something is wrong with you. Maybe the answer is much more human than that. Maybe you were shaped by what felt safe, by what felt dangerous, by what got love, by what lost love, by what your body learned before your mind had word for it. And this is not unusual. This is not only true for some people. This is how human beings work. Every brain learns from repetition. Everybody learns from experience. Every person carries pattern. So this video is not about blaming yourself. It is not about changing everything about you. It is about understanding what shaped you. Because maybe you are not random. Maybe some part of your life is still being guided by patterns that began long before you noticed them. Before we talk about any of this, we need to say something clearly. Patterns are not the problem. Automatic reactions are not bad. They are part of how we live, part of how we survive. Your brain cannot stop and analyze every single thing from zero. Imagine having to relearn walking every morning. Imagine thinking carefully about every step, every sound, every facial expression. Life would become impossible. So the brain filters, it predicts, it saves energy, it turns repetitive experience into automatic response. That is why you can drive a familiar route while thinking about something else. That is why you can sense someone's mood from just the way they walk into a room. This is not weakness, this is intelligence in the body. A pattern is simply something your system has learned. Some patterns are useful, some are neutral, some protects you deeply, and just some, were useful once but may not fit the life you are living now. That is the only difference. The goal is not to remove every pattern, the goal is to understand them. To quietly ask, is this pattern helping me live or is it protecting me from something that is no longer happening? Fear itself is not the problem either. Fear can protect life. If you are crossing a road and a car comes suddenly, fear moving your body before your mind has finished thinking. If you are climbing somewhere high, fear makes you slower, more careful, more aware. That kind of fear is wisdom in the body. It keeps you alive. But the same system that protects you can also become overactive. Someone replies late to your message, someone speaks in a certain tone, someone corrects you in front of others, someone goes quiet when you expected warmth, and suddenly the chest tightens, the stomach drops, the face gets hot. You feel the need to explain yourself, defend yourself, disappear, or shut down completely. The situation may not be dangerous, but something in the body says, be careful. This has happened before. So the question is not, why do I have fear? The better question is this fear protecting me from something real right now? Or is it protecting me from an old feeling? Some patterns protect your life, some patterns protect your past. Learning the difference, that is where awareness begins. Let's go back to the beginning, not to who you are now, much earlier than that. As a child, you did not analyze your environment. You did not sit there thinking, this home is calm, this home is tense, this is how people handle anger, this is how love is shown. You simply absorbed it. The tone of the house, the way people spoke to each other, the way silence felt, the way mistakes were treated, the way our needs were received. All of this taught you something, not always directly. Sometimes the lesson was never spoken, but the body still learned. It being quiet kept the peace, quiet become safety. If love felt unpredictable, watching people closely became safety. If anger appeared suddenly, staying alert became safety. If feelings were ignored, ignoring your own feelings became safety. And again, this does not mean something is wrong with you. It means your system adapted. It learned the rule of the world it was in. The problem is that later in life we may keep following rules from an old world. Rules that once helped us survive, rules that may not fit in the life we are living now. One of the hardest things to understand is that familiar does not always mean healthy. Something can feel normal simply because it was repeated. If you grew up around calm, calm may feel natural. If you grew up around tension, tension may feel natural. If you had to earn approval, earning love may feel normal. If you had to hide your needs, needing less may feel normal. This is why people sometimes return to situations that do not truly make them happy. Not because they want pain, not because they are foolish, but because the nervous system recognizes the pattern. It says, I know this, I know how to survive here. And sometimes what is familiar can feel safer than what is peaceful. This is why change can feel uncomfortable, even when the change is good. A calm relationship can feel strange. Being treated kindly can feel suspicious. Rest can feel wrong. So, when something good feels uncomfortable, it does not always mean it is wrong. Sometimes it only means your body is meeting something new, and that takes time. Most of us like to believe we became ourselves alone, but we did not. We were shaped in relationship by people, by repetition, by the emotional temperature around us, by what was allowed, by what was been punished, by what was praised, by what was ignored. A calm environment teaches one kind of body. A tense environment teaches another. A child growing up around safety may learn, I can relax, I can ask, I can make mistakes and still be loved. A child growing up around tension may learn, I need to be careful, I need to read the room, I need to earn peace. This is not about blaming anyone. Most people pass on what they never had the chance to understand. Pattern passes pattern, fear passes fear, silence passes silence, until someone becomes aware enough to stop and look. And that moment of looking matter, because once you can see a pattern, you are no longer completely inside it. You may not be free from it immediately, but you are no longer blind to it. And that is a beginning. This also explains something many people wonder about. Why do two siblings from the same family turn out so differently? Same parents, same house, same background, but not the same experience. One child may arrive when parents are younger and more stressed. Another arrives when the family is more settled. One child may be more sensitive to conflict, another may adopt by becoming invisible. One may try to keep everyone happy, another may try to escape. The same correction can be motivate one and deeply shame another. The same parents can be experienced completely differently by two children sitting in the same room. So you are not simply a copy of your family. You are the meeting of your nature and your environment, your temperature, their behavior, the timings, the emotional climate. All of it mixed together, and that mixture became part of what you now call me. There is one place this shaping becomes very personal, the voice inside your head. Not the simple voice that says, I need to do this, I should go there, the voice that judge. The one that say you always mess up things, you are too much, you are not enough, do not speak, do not try, do not need anything. Why do you think you are? Most people never ask where that voice came from. They just assume it is them, but the voice was often learned. Maybe it sounds like a parent, a teacher, a sibling, a room where you once felt small. At some point, their voice became your inner voice. Their judgment became your self judgment. Their fear becomes your self doubt. So the question is not only is that thought true? A better question may be, is this voice actually mine? Or did I absorb it so early that I mistook it for myself? That question does not erase the voice, but it creates a little distance, and distance is where choice begins. Think of something ordinary that triggers you, not a major life event. Something simple. Someone replies late to your message, someone speaks in a certain tone, someone corrects you in front of others, someone goes quiet when you expected warmth. Now notice what happens inside before the full story forms. Maybe your chest tightens, maybe your stomach drops, maybe you want to explain yourself immediately, maybe you want to disappear. The first moment is important because the reaction often begins in the body before it becomes a thought. Then the mind creates a story. They don't care. I did something wrong. I'm not safe, and maybe the story feels completely true, but sometimes the present moment is touching an old feeling, and the body reacts as if the past is happening right now. This is why the pause matter. Not a perfect pause, not a spiritual enlightened pause, just a small moment when you notice something is happening in me. I am reacting. This feeling may have a history. That small pause, even half a second, can create just enough space for something different to happen. So, what do you do in that moment? The first step is not to fix yourself. The first step is simply to name what is happening. Very simply, very honestly, I feel rejected, embarrassed, scared, ignored, or not good enough. Here is a simple example. Someone you care about replies to your message 3 hours later. Before you name anything, the old pattern runs. Your chest tightens. You check to message again. The mind says they don't care. I always matter less. But the moment you pause and name it, I feel anxious about being ignored. This is an old fear, not a fact about right now. The reaction changes its shape. You are no longer completely inside it. You are watching it. You are not the fear. You are the one noticing the fear, and the small distance, the tiny gap between the feelings and the awareness of the feeling is where everything can begin to change. Not because naming it makes it disappear, but because you are no longer running on automatic. You can't change a pattern you haven't seen yet. Awareness has to come first. Not judgment, not fixing, just seeing. Now, the honest question, can these patterns actually change? Yes, but not usually through one big realization. Change happens through returning again and again to awareness, to the pause, to a different response. The brain and body can learn new patterns, but they learn through repetition, just like they learn the old ones. Attention, emotion, practice, time, and this matter. Missing once does not ruin the process. Reacting badly once does not mean you failed. Falling into the old pattern does not mean you are back at the beginning. The practice is returning. You notice, you pause, you name what is happening, you choose again, not perfectly, not every time, but more often than before. That is how a new pattern slowly becomes available. So maybe you are not random. Maybe your reactions make sense. Maybe your fear have a history. Maybe your patterns were once protection. And maybe not all of them need to disappear. Some patterns help you live. Some patterns keep you safe. Some patterns makes life easier. But some patterns may be protecting a version of you that no longer needs the same protection. That does not mean you are broken. It means you are a human. You were shaped. And what was shaped slowly, imperfectly, genuinely can be reshaped. Not by rejecting yourself, not by fighting every reaction, not by trying to become someone completely different, but by noticing, by understanding, by asking, is this still serving me? Is this still needed? Is this real danger or an old feeling? And each time you ask, you create a little more space. Not quickly, not perfectly, but genuinely. Because the goal is not to become patternless. The goal is to become conscious.